Hello guys, welcome. This is another tutorial. Uh, this tutorial continues on our discussion of managing our website. So this tutorial is going to focus on what we discussed in our earlier virtual meeting, posting news stories and managing our news stories. So we are going to go through step by step of posting our news stories to have them like this. And then we are going to look at managing our news stories, having a menu item called news, and then having all our news items sitting like this on our page where our visitors can see all our news items and see all the items that were posted. So first things first, I'll assume that you are already logged in as administrator, and then you go to the dashboard for you to be able to post a story. So how do we post a news story or a latest news item? First things first, you're going to come on post, and then you're going to select add new post. On our left here we go to post and select add new post. Once I have selected add new post, I'm going to have this editor here where I am going to now put in the story details and manage my story item. The first thing here is to add the title for my story. So let's assume my story has something to do about roads being rehabilitated using CDF funds. So rehabilitation of urban roads using CDF. That is my story heading. And then for the body of my story, I'm going to have my body of the story pasted in here. So let's say the news item is already typed in my Word or anywhere else. I am now going to get the content of my story. Let's assume this is the content of my story. I'm going to copy it or even type it manually into the body of my story. This is the body of my story. So now, if we have noticed, each story, when it is posted on the front end, it is supposed to have a feature image. This is the image that sits together with the story, this feature image. So I'm going to post this story first without setting the feature image, and then I'm going to post it again with a feature image so that we notice the difference. So having placed my story heading like that and the body of my story sitting in this text editor, if at this moment I press publish like that without setting the feature image, and I go to the front end and refresh my front end view, this is my newly published story. This is how it is going to look like. Notice that it is different from these existing stories. It has no feature image. So how do I set the feature image? The feature image is set before I publish my story. I scroll to the bottom, and here I will see where it says set feature image. So this function might be different depending on your editor. On some of the editors it is sitting here, and on other editors it is sitting right below the main body of the story. So I will click here, assuming my image is already sitting in the media library. I'm going to select my feature image. Once I have selected my feature image, I'll have this mini display here to show me that the feature image has been selected. Then I am going to come back here and click publish. Once I have clicked publish, If I go back to the front end and refresh, I will now see that my story, which is this one, has been published together with a feature image, maintaining the look of my story design. So this is the first part of our tutorial, how to post a new story. So it is as simple as going to posts, add new post, I enter the title of my new story, I type in the main body, I set the feature image at the bottom, and I click publish. Now let's assume that after I have published this story and I have moved out of the dashboard, and then I have noticed that there's some content that is probably missing. Do I have to delete the entire story, or I can edit the story to correct whatever is missing? Yes, I can correct my story or I can edit my story even after it has been published. How do I do that? I'll come back to posts and I'll view all my posts. These are all my posts that have recently been posted or they have been posted in the past. I will come to the post that I want to edit. I'll click on edit and it will bring me back to this editor here, and I will edit or add any part of the content that I feel was left out or was erroneous. And after I have done that, I will click on update and it will update the changes and my story will be updated. The second part of this short tutorial is how do we keep all our news items under this menu item called news, so that those that are interested in our older news items can simply come here and view them. So let's assume we don't have this page already on our website, or on our website this page is missing. How do we create this page? Creating this page from scratch, I will come to pages and I will add a new page. I will give this page a title called news items, like that. This is where all my older news items are going to be housed, considering the fact that on the front end I only get the latest 3 or 4 stories displayed there as my latest stories. So once I have given this page a title, now I am going to show you something without changing the page attributes. I am going to go directly to save these attributes and say publish. Notice once I say publish and I go to edit with Elementor, this could be a problem that some of us have seen on our website. You will have a page that has this headline or this header and this line, which has proven to be difficult for some of us to get rid of. It will be there. We are going to be adding the widgets normally using our widget selector and adding them, and we notice that our page is concentrated in the middle and we cannot use the full width of the page, and we struggle to get rid of this page headline here, this page title. How do we get rid of this? For us to get rid of this and have a normal page that we can edit, we scroll down to the bottom and come to this settings feature. You click on settings, and once you have clicked on settings, these options, as this page is going to show this option, or the tools are going to display this option on the left. Below on the left here, I'm going to see where it says page layout. Under page layout, currently it is set at default. I'm going to click this and change my page attribute from default to Elementor full width. And once I have clicked Elementor full width, notice that it is going to change the structure of my page. That heading has disappeared and my widgets are now sitting fully on my page, as in full view. So this is how you get rid of that header that normally sits on our page, and it makes it difficult for us to edit. So if I put it back on default, notice it comes back to this default setting. If I come on settings and put it back to Elementor full width, my page is now editable in full width mode. So how do I pull out my news items? Assuming this is the header, the title, I'll name it news items and articles. That is the title of my page, and I will style it in a normal way, the same way that we style. I'll select the font size. I will select the font color. Let's say I'm using orange based on the color schemes of this website, like that. Now I'm going to get rid of this image and now call upon all our news items. So for me to query the posts, I'm going to look for a widget called posts. I will type in there and search for a widget called posts. Let me search posts. Once I search for posts, I'll have these widgets that are related to posts. I'm going to drag this and put it there. Notice that it is going to query all my posts and pull them out in order of how they have been posted. At the moment, it is only showing me 6 posts because this is how my layout is set on default. If I come under general here, I'm going to say it only has 6 posts per page in columns of 3. If I want to increase the number of posts that can show on my page, I am going to change this. Say I want 20 posts, from 6 to 20, and if I display the rest of the page, you will notice that the number of posts that it is displaying per page has increased from 6 to 20. If I want this page to house over 100 news items, I will write 100, and as I keep posting new news items, it will keep populating until it reaches 100 news items, and all these news items are going to be sitting on this page. Then this page, I can now get the link of this page and attach it to this menu item which says news or news update, and all my news items are going to be sitting here for future reference. Again, styling of these, like the fonts and other things, we can still use the style. I can come to the titles there and change the font size of the titles. I put it to 20, and I can change the font size of the excerpt. I put it to 16, like that, and I'm going to have my news items sitting like that. By playing around with the various controls and the various styling options, I can play around my news items and display them. Once I have saved and I have refreshed to the front end, I will see that my news items are going to be sitting like that.